revealed the shy maid's amazing transformation as a billionaire's fiancé to expose his ex's ego. On a crisp autumn afternoon, before the golden leaves had settled, the buzzing, quaint town of Willow Creek found itself wrapped in the buzz of anticipation. No one was ready for the confrontation that was about to shake their cozy community to its core. Lily, a 24-year-old maid with a heart full of dreams, stood at the edge of the Harrington estate, feeling the weight of her grandmother's illness pressing against her chest. She had longed for more, but could only work tirelessly for billionaire Alex Harrington, a man whose laughter ignited a flicker of hope within her. They talked late into the night about everything, life, dreams, and struggles, as if creating a cocoon against the world outside. As the seasons changed, so did their connection. The moments they stole together crackled with warmth and promise, yet shadows danced around them. Echoes of Alex's past relationship with the formidable Veronica, a socialite who wielded her influence with the sharpness of a knife. While the townsfolk once embraced Lily as one of their own, they now cast wary glances, framing her love as a battlefield in a larger class struggle. This fight was personal, tangled in the narrative of the American dream, weighed down by the relentless claws of status. Just when the air felt thick with tension, the annual Harvest Festival arrived, bustling with laughter, music, and the aroma of spiced cider. Everyone filed into the park, excitement simmering under the surface. But when Veronica appeared, adorned in a designer dress that caught the sun, the atmosphere shifted. The air thickened, the festive cheer dimmed, as the crowd turned its gaze to the sharp clash of worlds, Lily's humble heart against Veronica's poised veneer. Lily found herself trapped in a whirlwind. The moment their eyes met felt electric. Veronica's smile dripped with disdain. "Still playing the maid, I see," she hissed, turning the crowd into spectators of this unnecessary rivalry. Gasps ran through the onlookers. Lily's cheeks flushed, her heart raced. She fought back against the tide of doubt threatening to pull her under. "I may be a maid, but I'm not afraid to stand for what I've found," she replied, her voice steady though her insides twisted in knots. The crowd murmured, some nodding in quiet support. She couldn't back down. Love had opened her eyes to so much more than just her current situation. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue. The confrontation escalated, laughter from the crowd fading, tension rising. Lily felt the weight of judgment, the pressure to retreat curling like tendrils of smoke around her heart. But in that chaotic moment, she realized something powerful. Her worth wasn't defined by her job or clothes, but the fierce love she had for her family and herself. The cacophony danced around her as she took a deep breath, a surge of determination igniting within. Was she going to let Veronica dictate her happiness? No. Love, family, loyalty, those were her greatest treasures. Just as she opened her mouth to speak again, a shocking truth pressed against her. Could this facade of love, so carefully constructed, crumble under the weight of expectation? The crowd held its breath, and so did Lily, standing on the precipice of transformation, ready to face whatever storm awaited her. Would she stand tall and confront this injustice, or cower back into the shadows? The choice was hers, and everyone was watching. Lily took a deep breath, her chest rising and falling in a rhythm that matched the pounding of her heart. Each pulse was a reminder that this moment mattered. She glanced briefly at Alex, standing just beyond the fray, his expression a mix of concern and admiration. A glimmer of warmth spread through her, fueling her resolve. He had always believed in her strength, but now it was time for her to believe in it too. Veronica, with her perfectly manicured nails and sharp, cutting gaze, seemed to sense the shift in energy. Her painted smile faltered momentarily, revealing the tightness in her jaw. It was a crack in her armor, and Lily seized it. "You may have the title, Veronica," she said, her voice rising above the murmurs of the crowd, "but titles don't define love. People do." A murmur swept through the townspeople like a gust of wind. Several faces lit up with approval. Others remained skeptical, unsure of how to feel about this unexpected confrontation. The tension thickened again, but Lily refused to back down. "I choose to love without fear of judgment. Love is not a competition." "Such a quaint notion," Veronica sneered, crossing her arms defiantly. "But we both know how this story ends. You'll never be enough, not for him or anyone else." Lily's heart twisted at the biting words, but she stood firm, feeling every set of eyes on her. "Maybe you're right. I'm not enough for your world, but I'm building my own." With every syllable, she felt her confidence swell. "Alex sees me, not my job or my background. He sees my heart." At the mention of Alex, the crowd's gaze turned sharply toward him. A wave of whispers washed over them, a mixture of curiosity and murmurs of disbelief. Could he truly love her, the maid, the girl from the outskirts of town? Alex stepped forward, the sun catching the angles of his handsome face. "Lily is everything to me," he declared, his voice steady and authoritative. "She is brave and kind, and she inspires me every single day. I don't want a trophy by my side. I want someone who gets me, who challenges me, who makes life worth living." His words hung in the air, a silk ribbon of truth tying the moment together. For the first time, Lily felt a wave of warmth surge through her body, not just from Alex's affirmation, but from a sense of belonging, of purpose. It was as though she had stepped out of the shadows and into the light. Veronica scoffed, but the bravado in her voice was melting away. "You think this is over. The town will remember this moment, Lily," she replied, "and it will haunt you." "Perhaps, but I will be haunted by my truths, not your lies," Lily shot back, her heart pounding fiercely. She turned to the crowd, her friends and neighbors, each face a reflection of her own fears and hopes. "I won't let fear control me. I refuse to live a life dictated by anyone else's expectations." The cheers erupted suddenly, powerful enough to feel like a physical embrace. They lifted her, like the first warm rays of spring melting winter away. Hope danced in their eyes, and for a moment she felt invincible. But as the cheers faded into whispers of disbelief, Lily knew that the battle wasn't just won. Today's victory held an uncertain future. Could she really hold on to her place in Alex's world, a world fraught with past entanglements and the looming presence of Veronica? In that moment of hope and uncertainty, a chilling realization hit her. This was just the beginning. With a deep breath, she turned to face the crowd once more, ready to confront what lay ahead. But in the pit of her stomach, she sensed that the struggle was far from over. As the crowd began to disperse, an unexpected figure approached from the corner of her eye. It was someone she never thought would come, yet here they stood. Was this visit a harbinger of change, or yet another complication in her life? Lily blinked, her heart racing as the figure drew closer. It was Clara, her estranged sister. The vibrant red sweater she wore was almost blinding against the muted backdrop of whispers and fading excitement. Clara had always been the bold one, the one who carved her path out of stubbornness, while Lily often lingered in the shadows. Now here she was, crossing that invisible line between their worlds. "Lily," Clara called, her voice cutting through the noise like a knife. Lily felt a rush of emotions, confusion, anger, hope, all tangled together. "What are you doing here?" she managed, trying to keep her tone steady. "I came to see you," Clara said, stepping closer, her eyes searching Lily's for understanding. "I heard what happened. I'm proud of you." Proud? The word hung in the air, and for a moment she couldn't process it. Proud? Where have you been, Clara? You just disappeared when I needed you. Clara's expression flickered, and Lily could see the tension etched in her features. "I know I should have been there. I thought distancing myself would do us both good, but I see now it only made things worse." It felt surreal standing in front of Clara, the sister she had missed more than she wanted to admit. All the childhood fights, the whispers of jealousy, and the longing for sisterly support came rushing back. "I had to fight for my place, Clara. You weren't there to see it." A sigh escaped Clara, heavy with regret. "I see that now. I was lost in my own chaos, but I want to change that. I want to be a part of your life again." Lily's heart softened, but the walls she had built felt so fragile, so precarious. You really mean it?" "I do," Clara replied earnestly, stepping even closer. "I know I've hurt you, but I'm ready to fix this, if you'll let me." The noise of the crowd faded into the background. This moment felt pivotal, like a fragile thread weaving two separate stories back together. But doubt clung to Lily still. "What if you leave again, Clara? What makes you different this time?" Clara paused, her eyes glistening. "Because now I see you as you are, bold, strong. I'll be your biggest supporter, not an anchor." Before Lily could respond, a harsh voice sliced through the air behind them. "Oh, please." It was Veronica, re-emerging like a dark cloud about to ruin a perfect day. "You think you can just waltz in here and play the good sister? It doesn't work that way. People will always remember the past." Lily felt Clara tense beside her, but she raised her chin defiantly. "Maybe so, but I'm not tied to the past anymore. I am moving forward. If you want to dwell on our mistakes, that's your choice, Veronica. I choose growth." The tension crackled in the air like static electricity, each word amplifying the emotions. Clara nodded in agreement, her previously timid demeanor lighting up with determination. The crowd that had begun dissipating noticed the confrontation. They turned back, some curious, others eager for more. Their faces were a canvas of emotions, confusion, surprise, and a hint of admiration at this unexpected united front. "Let's show them, Lily," Clara said softly, squeezing her hand. "Let's show them we're more than what they think." The warmth of Clara's grip ignited something deep within Lily. For the first time, she felt like she wasn't alone in this battle, as if they were two warriors ready to face a storm, ready to play their parts in a story rewritten. But this wasn't the end of the drama. Something dark loomed in the corners of her mind. "I don't know how we'll face Veronica or the townsfolk. What if they never accept me? What if they only see the maid?" Clara's smile dimmed, replaced by a seriousness Lily had seldom seen in her sister. "That's why I'm here, to help you fight, together." But just as a flicker of hope surged in Lily's chest, she caught Veronica smirking, an icy certainty flickering in the depths of her eyes. This wasn't just a matter of family. The stakes were rising, and Lily couldn't help but wonder how deep Veronica's connections ran. As she turned to address the crowd again, determination brewing within her, the whisper of doubt returned. What would Veronica do next? It felt like standing on a cliff, ready to leap into the unknown. Would they soar together or crash? In the center of it all, Lily vowed not to back down, but an unshakable question loomed over her heart. Could she truly conquer the ghosts of her past with Clara by her side, or would they only lead her deeper into a battle she hadn't anticipated? Lily stood there, heart pounding in her chest. The murmurs of the crowd faded to a dull roar as she took a moment to breathe, grounding herself in the chaos that surrounded her. Clara's presence was a lifeline, yet the sting of Veronica's taunts echoed painfully in her mind. "I don't want to fight," Lily whispered, her voice barely above the rising tide of chatter. "But I can't turn back now." Clara's grip tightened around her hand, infusing her with the strength she desperately needed. "We won't fight alone. We'll show them what we're made of, and together we're stronger." But the resolve seemed to waver under the weight of worries. Lily glanced at Veronica, who stood smugly with her arms crossed, clearly relishing this moment. It felt like a dark shadow was looming over them, ready to pounce the second they faltered. "Clara, are you sure?" The words trembled on Lily's lips. Vulnerability and uncertainty flooded through her. Clara's fierce support was a balm, but could they truly outlast this storm? Just then, a middle-aged woman in the crowd, a former neighbor of theirs, someone Lily had looked up to as a child, spoke up. "What do you think you're doing, Clara, after all these years?" The crowd hushed, anticipation crackling in the air. This was not just about the sisters, it was becoming a community affair. Clara took a steady breath, her expression resolute. "I'm here to support my sister. We all have pasts, but they don't have to dictate our futures. I want us to be a family again, and I believe we can build something new." Lily couldn't help but feel the warmth of Clara's words. For a moment, she basked in the possibility of a future clean of bitterness. But then she remembered the wounds, the deep scars of abandonment. "What if they don't see it that way, Clara? What if they only see the little maid who stayed behind?" The crowd shifted, interest peaked. This wasn't just a personal battle, it was becoming a reckoning of sorts. Veronica stepped forward, her voice a melodious sneer. "So now we're playing the family card. You really think that's going to change anything? People love drama, and they'll feast on this like vultures." The crowd murmured again, some picking at their own judgment. Resistance surged in Lily. "You don't know me," she said, stepping forward, heart racing. "The maid you see doesn't define me. I fought hard to get where I am. I am growing, and I won't let you control my narrative anymore." It was like the air thickened with possibility. Clara smiled proudly, but the weight of the crowd pressed in on Lily. She was standing at the edge of transformation, yet fear gripped her tightly like a vice. Had she really shed the label of the maid? Would this revelation make her rise or fall? The faces turned towards her, curiosity mingled with skepticism. A seed of doubt nestled in her heart, but Lily squashed it down. She lifted her chin higher. "Each of us has a story, but do we let others tell it for us, or do we create our own? I choose to rewrite mine." The weight of her resolve hung in the air, drenched in a pulse of rebellion. There was a flicker of excitement among the crowd, but also a palpable tension. They were waiting for Veronica's counterattack. Lily glanced at Clara, who was nodding, determination blazing in her eyes. "Together," Clara mouthed, as though it sealed the deal. But just as Lily felt an inkling of hope start to grow, Veronica's laughter rang through the air, cold as ice. "You really think you can change? You're merely a shadow of what I once was. The townsfolk remember." A powerful surge rippled through the crowd, their expressions shifting from skepticism to raw interest. No one wanted to miss this rich saga of family and rivalry unfolding right before their eyes. "What are you hiding, Veronica?" a voice piped up from the back. "Why don't we know the whole story?" The words were like a match dropped into a powder keg. Lily's heart raced. Were others beginning to see through Veronica's facade? As the murmurs grew louder, she realized this was the moment she'd been waiting for, a chance to take control. She took a deep breath, willing courage to wash over her. "Let's find out the truth then, shall we?" Around her, the crowd buzzed with an energy she hadn't felt before. The tides were shifting, and with it came an undercurrent of hope. But what would this truth uncover about Veronica, and would it have the strength to propel Lily's story forward? The weight of the moment anchored in her chest. Everything would change from here. Amidst the brewing chaos, one question rooted deeper. Would revealing this truth bring freedom or unleash a storm unlike anything they had ever faced? The air crackled with anticipation as the crowd leaned in, tension undulating like waves crashing on a shore. Lily's words hung in the space between uncertainty and empowerment. Their murmurs morphed into whispers, a hidden curiosity demanding answers. She felt a surge of adrenaline pushing her forward. This was the moment to seize. "Veronica," Lily called, her voice steadier this time. "What truth are you afraid of? Why hide behind shadows?" The crowd stirred, some faces softening, empathy blooming amid the skepticism. Veronica's confident smirk faltered for just a moment, revealing a crack in her fortress. Behind her bravado was there fear. "Don't play games, Lily," Veronica snapped, frustration bubbling beneath her perfect poise. "Your rise doesn't make you special. You're still the little girl running errands in my shadow." But this time, Lily wasn't backing down. "We're not talking about a shadow anymore, Veronica. Shadows fade in the light." "Enough!" Veronica's voice sliced through the air. "You think you've changed. You're still defined by your past." Before Lily could respond, Clara stepped beside her, fierce and unyielding. "No one is defined by their past except you, Veronica. You cling to it because it's all you have left." It was as if a fire ignited in the crowd. Murmurs swelled into conversations, revealing a shift. People began to rally behind Clara's words, faces turned with newfound resolve toward Veronica. The tide of the crowd was changing, their allegiance no longer a given. "Can we really trust someone who shows no growth?" A familiar voice chimed from the side. It was Mrs. Jenkins, the woman who had stood up earlier, passion brimming in her eyes. Who can't see past her own ego? Veronica's facade began to crumble. She pivoted on her heels, desperate for support from the crowd she once thought loyal. "You don't know the real story. You don't know the sacrifices I made." But it was too late. The truth was already swirling in the air, wrapping around them like a warm embrace. "We do know," another voice shouted. "You've blinded us with your lies for far too long." Hope surged within Lily as allies emerged from the shadows. She felt a strength swell in her chest, swooping in like hints of spring after a long winter. "Veronica," she began again, her tone unyielding, "you've lived by your rules, but that's not the life anyone should be confined to. This is our chance to rewrite this narrative, together." The eyes that once regarded her and Clara with distrust now reflected something different. The crowd was shifting, ready to turn the page. They saw the sisters standing tall, linked by a bond forged in trials, but strengthening in this moment. "Let's pull back the curtain," Clara chimed in. "Let's see who you really are, Veronica." A prickling silence filled the air, as if time stood still. The crowd breathed collectively, anticipating the fallout. Lily's heart raced, a cocktail of fear and exhilaration coursing through her veins. This wasn't just about her anymore. It was about the entire community breaking free from the grip of the past. As a ripple of energy surged through the group, Lily knew they stood on the edge of something monumental. But was the community ready to confront the truth, or would Veronica unleash the very chaos they sought to escape? The tension thickened, suffocatingly sweet. The air felt electric with unspoken words. The moment trembled, brimming with anticipation. But deep down, Lily held a quiet hope. Maybe, just maybe, the truth would set them all free. And like a tightly coiled spring, she sighed, ready to let it go. Would the courage of so many finally raise the stakes enough to bring them all change? The silence shattered like glass, the intensity pulsing through the crowd. Lily could feel the electric buzz of emotions, some eager, others anxious. Every heartbeat echoed the unvoiced question: what would Veronica reveal? The great wall she had built around herself was collapsing, and there was no veil to hide behind. Veronica looked from face to face, registering the shift. The confidence that once draped over her was peeling away, layer by layer. For the first time in years, she seemed vulnerable. It was a sight that ignited a fierce determination in Lily. "Let's not act like you're not afraid, Veronica." Clara's voice broke through the tension. "This is the moment to set things right." Veronica clenched her jaw, a storm brewing behind her striking blue eyes. "And what would you know about fear?" Her voice wavered, but the sharpness was still there, a final desperate attempt to regain control. Yet the facade was cracking. "We know exactly what fear can do," someone in the crowd yelled. "It can trap you, but we're not your captives anymore." The statement rippled through the unity of the group, and nods of agreement followed, emboldening them all. Lily stepped forward, her heart pounding. "It's time to claim your truth, Veronica. All these years, you've hidden behind your power, using it to intimidate those around you. But what if we understood? What if we stopped fearing and started healing?" Veronica flinched, but she didn't step back. The challenge hung in the air, daring her to open up. The crowd watched, breath held, as if the world had been paused. With a huff, Veronica crossed her arms, but her defiance was beginning to crack. "You think I need your forgiveness?" she shot back. "I've built this—" "On the ashes of others," Clara interjected, her voice cutting through the tension with a clarity that sent chills down Lily's spine. "You've lost sight of what really matters. Power doesn't equal strength. It never did." The murmurings grew louder, swelling into a chorus. Lily saw it, the shift in Veronica, the shimmer of her truth struggling to find a path. "You're afraid of being vulnerable, aren't you? Afraid that without your status, you'll be what you perceive as weak." Everything hung in balance. The air was thick, each person present holding on to the moment that felt like it could change lives. Lily's gaze softened. "But being vulnerable doesn't mean being weak. It means you're brave enough to trust, and we're offering you that trust." Veronica's composure shifted. Written on her face was a mixture of anger and relief. "You think you know my pain? You've never sacrificed what I sacrificed." "Maybe not," Mrs. Jenkins said softly, stepping forward. "But we all have stories. We're all carrying burdens. It's time to lay them down." A silence swept over the crowd again. It was different this time, an understanding forming among them. Lily felt a surge of hope. "This is about us, Veronica. Join us. Share your truth, and we'll share ours. Let go of this hate. It can't hold you any longer." And then, in the trembling silence, something shifted. Veronica's shoulders relaxed, just a fraction, as if a heavy weight had been lifted. The crack in her armor widened, her breathing becoming less labored. "What if I told you there's more I've kept hidden?" Her voice was barely a whisper, a shadow behind walls of pride. The crowd leaned in closer, captivated and waiting. What other truths lay buried beneath her bravado? As apprehension and intrigue battled within, Lily's heart raced at the thought. The escalation was palpable. Would Veronica finally let them all in? Lily's pulse quickened. The gravity of the moment was undeniable. They were on the brink of change, the air thick with possibilities. But could Veronica truly break free, and would they all be ready to face the aftermath? In that moment, everything hung in the balance. The choice was hers, and Lily held her breath in anticipation. The next words could reshape them all. What truth would spill from Veronica, and at what cost? The crowd held its breath, tension electrifying the air. Veronica's gaze dropped, her confidence faltering as if she was grappling with a storm brewing inside. Each second felt heavy, stretching out in a suspensive silence, the only sound a distant rustling leaf. I didn't just want control," she began, her voice trembling. "I wanted protection." The words stumbled out, raw and jagged, like a hesitant child opening the curtains to a dark room. "I thought power would keep the hurt away." "What hurt?" Clara pressed gently, her tone shifting to one of deep concern. Veronica's eyes flashed with pain before she turned away. "The hurt of being cast aside, the hurt of feeling unworthy. My parents, they didn't want me. I was just the burden." Lily felt it too, like a soft, shared gasp among them all. With clues unfolding, so did compassion. "Veronica, no one here sees you that way. You don't have to carry that." But Veronica's fear surged back. "But how can I trust you? How can I trust anyone?" The fight in her voice was fading, revealing a deeper vulnerability beneath. "We're asking you to try," Lily urged, stepping closer. "To embrace what's true inside of you. No more walls, just honesty." Suddenly, a couple of voices joined in, each sharing whispers of their own struggles, moments of rejection, fears of failure, battles with self-doubt. They were stories painted with hues of heartache, mirroring Veronica's cries for acknowledgement. The warmth of solidarity wrapped around them. It was no longer just about her. What once felt like a torrent now seemed a shared human experience. Veronica looked at each of them, her blue eyes glistening with unshed tears. "You say I ripped apart lives, but I was just as scared as those I harmed." A small voice spoke from the back. "We all fight those demons, Veronica. You are not alone." It was Mrs. Jenkins again, her hand reaching out, steady and inviting. The brightness in the room began to grow. "Maybe the path forward isn't about power, but vulnerability," Clara said, her voice strong yet soothing. "If you allow us to help you carry that pain, you can heal. And perhaps we too can find our own healing together." Veronica's breath hitched. Was it possible? The weight of her secrets looked lighter in the face of shared understanding. "Can I really let go of this anger?" "Yes," Lily whispered, her heart racing with palpable hope. "You have a choice. Join us, release that anger, and let us support each other." With trembling hands, Veronica took a step forward. The crowd parted, instinctively giving her room. They were all eyes and hearts, ready to catch her if she fell. "Okay, I'll try," she murmured, "but I'm terrified." The murmur of encouragement surged amongst the crowd, a whirlwind of emotions igniting as they embraced her openness. "I've spent so long trying to be someone I thought others wanted. I forgot who I am underneath all this." Veronica's voice shook with newfound determination as she unlocked a hidden well of strength. "And maybe this is the moment I can be free." They leaned in, the crowd feeling like a safe harbor absorbing her words. But just as the floodgates seemed to open, a loud crash interrupted everything. A figure emerged from the shadows, fury etched into their features, a familiar face they would have never expected to see. "Not so fast, Veronica! I won't let you ruin everything!" As the crowd turned toward the newcomer, the sense of calm shattered. A deep unease settled over them, a reminder that truths could be met with danger. What did this unexpected entry signify, and could their fragile moment of healing withstand the chaos to come? The air was thick with tension, and every face turned towards the snarl that had erupted from the shadows. Veronica's heart raced, a wild drum in her chest as she tried to process the sight before her. It was Mia, her voice dripping with contempt. "Stay away from her," Mia pointed an accusatory finger, her anger burning hot. "You think you can just waltz in and tell everyone your sad little story? It's pathetic, really." Veronica felt the warmth of the crowd start to wane, their encouragement waning as whispers of shock rippled through the group. She pressed her palms against her thighs, her breath catching. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. She had just begun to let herself be seen. Lily stepped forward, sensing the shift. "Mia, this isn't the time or place. We're trying to support each other here." Her voice was firm, but there was a tremor underneath, like a bridge swaying underfoot. "Oh, please, support!" Mia tossed her head back, a bitter laugh escaping. "You're all just enabling this disaster. Veronica hurt people. She doesn't deserve your support. She's just playing the victim now." Veronica's heart squeezed tighter. Scorn dripped from Mia's words like venom, and old wounds threatened to rear their ugly heads. She felt herself shrinking away, that furious inner storm reigniting. "Mia, everyone here has struggled." Clara's voice rose above the turmoil, her resolve fierce. "Your anger is misplaced. It takes courage to be vulnerable. You should understand that better than anyone." Mia's lips curled into a sardonic smile. "Courage? This is just weakness disguised as courage. Veronica is only sorry because she got caught. The moment she's faced with any real challenge, she'll show her true colors." Churning emotions clashed inside Veronica like a tempest. Part of her wanted to defend herself, to throw Mia's words back at her. But another part, the part that had just begun to breathe freely in the warmth of acceptance, craved more than that. "I'm more than my mistakes." Veronica's voice cut through the chaos, shaking but steady. "I'm trying to learn and grow. It's not about being a victim. It's about taking responsibility and facing the hurt I caused." Mia's gaze bored into her, unyielding and icy. "By pretending you're all better now? You're just playing a part. It won't last, and when it falls apart, it'll be your own doing." The crowd cringed at the harshness, and the palpable chill hung heavy in the space. But a few within the circle began murmuring encouragement again, softly urging her on. "You're not wrong, Mia. I have made mistakes. I've hurt people deeply." Veronica felt tears gather at the corners of her eyes, but she wiped them away fiercely, willing them to stay put. "But I want to change. I won't let fear control me anymore, even if you don't believe me." Lily took a step closer, placing a hand on Veronica's shoulder. "We believe you. This is a safe space for all of us. We're here to start fresh, together." Mia's shoulders tensed, the fight in her eyes turning uncertain for a brief moment. But then she shook her head, lips pressed thin. "You're fooling yourselves if you think she's capable of real change. Remember that when the time comes. You'll see." As Mia turned to leave, the energy in the room shifted again, veering away from despair and toward a fragile hope. Veronica felt a flicker of strength begin to blaze anew in her chest, reminding her that vulnerability didn't mean surrendering to fear. But before she could gather her thoughts, a loud bang echoed from behind, causing everyone to jump. A door slammed open, and another unexpected figure burst through, eyes scanning the room. "We need to talk. This is bigger than you all think." The urgency in the voice captured everyone's attention once more. What did this new arrival mean for Veronica and her fragile moment of transformation? Could they really hold on to this new thread of hope in the face of an unexpected storm? The tension in the room shifted as everyone turned to see who had interrupted. A tall figure stood at the entrance, the dim overhead lights catching the gleam of determination in his eyes. It was Marcus, a familiar face, but one she hadn't seen often at these support gatherings. He was usually quiet, always standing in the back, observing rather than engaging. But right now, he looked ready to ignite. "What's going on here?" He scanned the faces, pausing on Mia, who regarded him with visible disdain. "This doesn't feel like the kind of safe space we've been trying to build." Safe? You mean her? Mia jabbed a finger at Veronica, her voice rising again. She's undermining all of us because of her selfishness. Marcus's brow furrowed as he turned his focus on Mia. As if the real issue here is about Veronica. We're all hurting, Mia. You can't target someone just because it's easier than facing your own pain. Veronica sensed movement beside her. Clara was whispering something comforting, but the words were lost in the whirlwind of emotions swirling around her. Despite the noise, something remarkable began to stir within her. Maybe it was the fierce protectiveness that bubbled up inside her at Marcus's defense, or maybe it was something deeper, a realization that the wounds Mia was trying to exploit could only control her if she let them. "I'm still learning," Veronica said, her voice firmer now. "I didn't come here to take the easy way out. I came here to face my past, to own up to my missteps, and to be a better person. I won't allow this moment to be ripped from me." A murmur passed through the crowd, rippling like water disturbed by a pebble. Encouragement bloomed in unexpected corners. Faces that had been downcast now lit with a glimmer of belief. But Mia, arms crossed defiantly, rolled her eyes, clearly unconvinced. "Go on and put on your brave face, Veronica, but it won't change what you've done. You can't mask the truth," she snapped, her frustration palpable. "I'm not wearing a mask," Veronica countered, a flicker of fire igniting in her voice. "I'm taking it off. Vulnerability isn't weakness, it's a bridge to understanding, to healing. If you think I'm faking, then maybe you need to take a closer look at your own heart." "Enough!" Marcus's voice boomed, silencing everyone. "This isn't about proving ourselves to one another or scoring points. It's about genuinely connecting and finding the strength to grow as a community." The weight of his words hung in the air, heavy, yet somehow inviting. The room held its breath, and a silence fell, underscored only by the rapid thumping of Veronica's heart. Could she really embrace this moment, or would it slip through her fingers like sand? Slowly, the crowd began to shift. Some stepped forward, drawn toward the hope that Marcus had invoked. Veronica didn't realize she was taking a step herself until she felt the warmth of support flowing from those beside her. It was a glorious sensation, a comfort she hadn't anticipated, confidence woven into the fabric of shared struggle. "I want to encourage each of you to share your stories too," Marcus continued, softer now, his voice wrapping around them like a blanket. "We all have wounds, and they don't define us. How we choose to move forward does." Veronica felt something within her awaken, a desire to be a catalyst, the first ember in a bonfire. "I'll go first," she said, summoning strength despite the doubt still lurking in the corners of her mind. She took a breath, clearing her throat, trying to gather her words like a puzzle, piece by piece. But before she could begin, Mia's voice sliced through once again. "Why should we listen to her?" she challenged, crossing her arms defiantly. "Who's to say she won't hurt us all over again?" That question settled in the air like a fog, heavy and thick with uncertainty. But as Veronica caught the eyes of those who stood with her, Lily, Clara, and Marcus, she felt the stirrings of hope battling against the doubts. "Maybe it's time to let the past be the past," Veronica said, her voice steady once more, "and trust that what we choose today can shape tomorrow." With those final words hanging uncertainly, she sensed that a pivotal moment was upon them, like holding a fragile piece of glass, unsure whether to cling tightly or let it go. Could they truly transform in this heated space filled with raw emotions? Would vulnerability be enough to foster change despite the shadows that threatened to pull them back? As the energy shifted, Veronica couldn't shake the feeling that everything was about to change again, just when she thought she was on the path to something meaningful. Veronica stood there, heart racing, feeling the weight of the moment like the stillness before a summer storm. The air was heavy with anticipation, and for a split second she felt utterly lost. Yet beneath that uncertainty, a flicker of resolve began to fan into flame. "I know I've hurt many of you," she began, nervously twisting her fingers together. "But I've also been hurt. I thought power would shield me from pain, but all it did was isolate me." The words flowed out like a long-awaited confession. She felt the crowd draw closer, eyes softening with curiosity instead of judgment. "I've spent so long pretending to be strong," she continued, her voice resonating with newfound clarity. "But what I really needed was to let people in, to be vulnerable. I thought power equated to fearlessness, but I learned that true strength lies in honesty and connection." Clara nodded encouragingly, a radiant smile lighting her face.
"We're all here on our own journeys," Marcus added, moving through the crowd, his presence like an anchor besides the emotional waves crashing around them. "And vulnerability unites us." Veronica looked up, meeting Lily's gaze. The support she saw there strengthened her resolve. "I'm ready to embrace the truth, to confront my past, and I want to take steps towards mending what I've destroyed. I know it won't happen overnight, and I know I might stumble along the way, but—" her breath steadied as she spoke, "I'm willing to try." As she spoke, the crowd's murmurs slowly shifted from muted skepticism to something warmer, a cautious acceptance. They were leaning in, ready for more than the rigid facade she had once projected. "Why not? We've all made mistakes," Lily chimed in, stepping closer to Veronica. "But we can rebuild together. There's no going back, only forward." Just then, a young man from the back spoke up, someone from the crowd, not directly involved in the heated exchanges so far. "I admire your courage. I don't have it all figured out either, but I'd like to support this journey with you. We all have stories that matter." A wave of agreement rippled through the group, each sentiment sparking others to step forward and share their own struggles. One by one, voices joined in, people embracing vulnerability like warriors lifting their shields to stand beside each other. The atmosphere was thick with shared stories of hurt and hope, illuminating the awkwardness of opening up about pain. Each revelation chipped away at the weight of judgment, revealing raw connections built on honesty. Veronica could feel the stale air of resentment lifting, shifting to something more. The crowd began to embrace the potential for healing. But then Mia's voice cut through, still fierce, but tinged with uncertainty. "What if it all falls apart again? What if the cycle continues?" A knot formed in Veronica's stomach, echoing a long familiar fear. "It might," Veronica replied honestly. "But we won't face it alone. We have the chance now. I'm prepared to put in the work." "Why should we trust you?" Mia pushed, but there was a glimmer of vulnerability beneath her fierce exterior. Murmurs of uncertainty and courage intertwined in a restless hush, unwilling to fall back into their old patterns. "Because I'm here, willing to take responsibility," Veronica said slowly, confidence building as realization dawned on her. "Trust is built through action, not just words. I understand that, and I'm ready to show up, even if it's hard." In that moment, unexpected silence fell over the crowd as they absorbed her words. This was an opening, a crossroads. The invitation to let go and embrace something new felt electrifying, and Veronica hoped it wouldn't vanish in the wake of doubts and fear. Gradually, nods emerged from the crowd, tentative and yet firm. Conversations blossomed, filled with support and acceptance. As the sun began to set, a golden glow enveloped Willow Creek, and Veronica took a deep breath, feeling lighter than she had in years. Surrounded by those who had witnessed her journey, her struggles, and her truths, they were all on a precipice poised for change. "Let this be the start of something new together," she declared, a warmth filling her chest. Not just for me, but for all of us. Lily stepped forward and took Veronica's hand, Clara beside her, their support palpable. The others began to link arms, a tapestry of unity woven from vulnerability and understanding, forging ahead as a community. And with that moment, the past began to dissolve like mist, replaced by the vibrant dawn of new possibilities. Veronica could finally see it. The landscape ahead wasn't filled with barriers, but paths leading outward. Paths lit with kindness, compassion, and the resilience to grow together. "Let's embrace what comes next together," Lily shouted, the energy radiating like fireworks. Cheers erupted from the crowd. Messages of hope and transformation rang out across Willow Creek. This was the moment they'd all been waiting for. And at last, Veronica felt the suffocating grasp of her past fade. She was finally ready to be seen. Thank you for watching. Now it's your turn to take action. Subscribe immediately to this channel so you don't miss our next exclusive stories about incredible transformations. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help spread this message of hope. Comment below your feelings about today's ending and share your own stories. We want to hear from you. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to witness this journey. This is the moment to show your support for our community.